What's up, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Sports Planet podcast. I'm joined once again by Daniel Tanious for episode 17. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Brandon?
Not too bad, man. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, the main story, Messi to the MLS.
Messi,
But we'll
Messi.
Messi go. But of course, we also have how the PGA Tour is hypocritical and much more. But first, we want to start off with some headlines around the Sports Planet. So we have LAFC losing their CONCACAF Champions League final to Club Leon 3-2 this past Sunday at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. And then the legend known as Zlatan Ibrahimovic has announced his retirement from football at the age of 41. The Las Vegas Golden Knights currently hold a 2-0 series lead over the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup final with Game 3 later tonight of the day that we're recording this episode. And then the Suns met with Chris Paul to discuss his future with the franchise, with the possibility to waive the 18-year veteran. Phoenix plans on exploring trades, including CP3 and DeAndre Ayton, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. And then in the MLB, the Cincinnati Reds called up Elly De La Cruz earlier this week. MLB's number 4 prospect was batting .297 with 12 home runs, 36 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases in AAA before being called up. And then, how we mentioned earlier, Messi's move to Inter Miami has made ticket prices skyrocket over 1,000%. His first potential game with Miami could potentially be on July 21st versus Cruz Azul in a Leagues Cup match. Previously, the cheapest ticket for this match was listed at $29, but now the cheapest ticket at the time of recording this episode is over $1,000 on Ticketmaster.
Jeez.
So obviously, we'll get to to Messi, to the MLS, biggest story. But anything from the headlines you wanted to get to before we move on to Messi?
Let's start the first one. Go through them pretty quickly. I think that'll be good. Just want to say, this is Brandon's team, the host of the Sports Planet podcast. His team unfortunately lost and got their, I wouldn't say ass whooped, but they lost in the final. So I wanted to see your kind of reaction to that.
Yeah, man. Obviously, so they lose 3-2 on the aggregate score. Both legs, they were playing pretty terribly. Leon had all the pressure. They created everything. And then in the second leg in Los Angeles, it just seemed like nothing was going right. You have the referee out here handing out yellow cards to both teams as if it was candy on Halloween, you know. It was just a terrible – it just felt like the first 20-ish minutes or so, it was kind of LAFC had a chance to come back. But once they scored that goal on Sunday, Leon did, it was just like everything went downhill from there, man. But I don't know.
All I want to say to you, dude.
Okay, go ahead. Get him in. It's all good. All I'm gonna say is this is funny coming from a Galaxy fan who's at the bottom of the Western Conference currently.
I just want to say I'm now an Inter Miami fan. But they're still at the bottom, but not for long.
They're still at the bottom, yeah. Once Messi gets you're like for those that don't know, Daniel isn't a certain team fan. He's a Lionel Messi fan. Yeah, so kind of like back when LeBron would move from team to team, they would say that the fans weren't Heat fans; they were wherever Heat at fans. So that's Daniel right now with Messi.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, Messi's my favorite player, but yeah.
Yeah, I was a Galaxy fan, but time to change. I mean, Miami's looking good, so might have to move teams.
Yeah. Anything else you want mentioned real quick before moving on to Messi?
No, can we get to the next one with Zlatan? Yeah. So let's just say, in my opinion, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is top 10 of all time, maybe top 15 of just football players. And I just want to say he played 22 seasons, and out of his 22 seasons, 13 of those seasons, his team was first place in their league. That just goes to show you how much of a game changer he was. Played 605 games, had 392 goals, 136 assists, just a beast offensively. And when he came to Galaxy, he played 29 games and scored. It was 30 goals in 29 games, so averaged more than one goal per game in each of his starts. I just want to say he's just a legend. I wouldn't say didn't grow up watching him like too specifically. I mainly catered to Messi, but if you're a soccer fan and you're watching any soccer, this is one of the GOATs of all time, and I would definitely say he's a top 10 player of all time. And
Mhm.
wish him luck in his next future endeavor and what he's gonna do in his life after football. So just want to say one of the GOATs retired. So it
Yeah.
was sad to see him
Real.
go, but it was his time.
Yeah, yeah. Just real quick on the last Latin, real quick. One of my favorite stories is like obviously, like I mentioned, when he came to LA, two things. He had taken out an ad saying, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome," and
Oh
and
yeah.
then the other one where LeBron, obviously LeBron was in LA now, and then LeBron sent him a jersey, and then Zlatan didn't think that he was giving him the jersey as a welcome to LA moment, more
Mhm.
as a here, let me sign it for you and send it
Oh yeah.
back. So that's how like his like Zlatan is one of one, man. So
Yeah. And I do remember when he
obviously he's
was
a
talking
great, yeah.
about your old LAFC star Carlos Vela
Carlos Vela, yeah,
when they were comparing him in the MLS, and he said, "Look at his age. Where was I? Where was I when I was his age? I was playing
yeah, yeah,
international against better competition." So, um,
yeah. That he's in his
yeah,
prime in the MLS.
yeah, he's prime in MLS, and he's just on his like last legs of his career. And it's crazy how he went back to Milan and won another title there before retiring. Yeah, great
Hmm.
player. Sad to see him go, but at 40, 41 years old, I think it was the right time to hang it up.
Yep, definitely. Anything else before moving on to Messi?
Last night I was want to go CP3. Oh, also the Florida. I mean, I picked Florida over Vegas Knights in NHL, and unfortunately, we're down 2-0 and getting our
It's
butt
okay.
kicked.
We were going for the underdog. We knew that
I'm
Vegas was a better team, but
Yeah,
we were going for the underdog.
but it's all right. We'll see. We'll see if they win tonight. If they win tonight, they have a chance. They lose tonight, series is done. So we'll see. We'll see
Hmm.
what Florida can do. Lastly, we'll go to CP3. Um, I know at first they said they waived him, and then now there's a report
Yeah.
coming after that they're exploring trades. So whoever's reporting this shit needs to get their shit straight because they're confusing
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But I know there's a lot of talk where Laker fans CP3 may be coming to the Lakers, something like that. I'm not completely opposed to it, but I'm not all for it. I'll say just I think he's the last member of the Banana Boat crew that would play alongside LeBron. So we'll see if he comes. We'll see what kind of trade options. I just don't think they're gonna be offering much for him. He's old. He's on the last end of his career. He can't play defense at all anymore. So he's not as efficient offensively. But he is a veteran point guard. He could kind of be like how Rondo was us in 2020. Maybe come off the bench, give us that
Yeah,
little
yeah.
spark. I think he could do that for the Lakers. Definitely don't think he is good enough to be our starting point guard or wouldn't be able to fill that hole at the starting PG. But a backup point guard with some veteran experience to
Hmm.
come on the floor, I think that could be good for us. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the
Yeah.
Suns do. Yeah.
If they can get him for cheap, I wouldn't mind him as a backup because obviously he's older now.
Hmm.
He's not as durable as he used to be. He's been in the league 18 years. Can't blame him for that. So it's all like if we can get him as a backup, I wouldn't mind him either.
Hmm.
But I just wanted to mention something real quick. How you were talking about who I don't know who's reporting what. It's funny because I want to say it was Chris Haynes who first reported saying that he was waived right away,
Hmm.
and then I saw a tweet where somebody like just some Twitter user, he essentially wrote out like how it went down. So he's like Shams, the Suns and Chris Paul met to discuss options. Woj said Chris Paul wants to return and the Suns are exploring all options. Chris Haynes said the Suns had murdered Chris Paul. So I'm like, that's kind of like, it's like everybody has a different like. Woj and Shams were like saying like kind of like more accurate story, and Chris Haynes is like,
Yeah.
no, they're done.
They're done.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick.
So Chris Haynes, get your shit together.
Yeah,
That's
still a
funny.
great reporter though, but sometimes you can't bat 1,000 on every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to Messi or anything else you want to say real quick.
No, that's it. Let's get into Messi.
Messi the GOAT. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I just wanted to start with the most popular sport in the world. So sorry, America. I'm not talking
Hmm.
about American football. I'm talking about the real, true football, the way it's called throughout the whole world, except for here.
Hmm.
So obviously Messi is has agreed to join Inter Miami. This is a huge deal for many people. So I kind of just wanted to go over first, like your initial reaction, and then we'll go into like some winners and losers. Like, so obviously today's Thursday. It happened. The news broke yesterday around the time West Coast people were waking up. So it's all like, what was your initial reaction when you woke up saying Messi to Inter Miami?
So my first reaction, I was completely shocked because in my mind,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you know what, he's going to go back to Barca. He's going to finish his
Yep.
career where he started because
Mm-hmm.
he's 35 right now. I'm thinking he's going to sign maybe a 3 to 4 year deal there, finish his career in
Mm-hmm.
Barca, and things will just work out that way. And then obviously then we all heard about like Saudi offering whatever X amount of money, and
A
the money's like
lot.
so ridiculous. So I'm like, all right, that has to be his like top two
Yeah.
options. Like I heard MLS because everyone says like MLS is always like an option for those international players, like kind of when they're older, finishing their career
Towards the end of
here.
the career, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems that's like the new thing. So not new thing, it's been going on kind of since Beckham and a little bit before that, but I didn't think it was as possible. Then when I saw it, I was just like, damn, this is crazy. No longer a Galaxy
Yep.
fan. I'm now an Inter Miami fan. And now I get to see Messi live for a small fee of $1,200 in those
Yeah,
tickets. Like
it's pocket change, right?
we'll see what's going on. But um, I'm happy with it just because I get to see him, and at the end of the day,
Yeah,
it's his life. He chooses what he wants to do. But um, I kind of wanted him to go to Barca just because I feel like it's a
same,
good finishing for him. He could still play against high competitive people because I still think he's. I mean, he just
definitely.
won the World Cup. He's still one of the best
Definitely,
players
he's
in the
still up
league.
there.
If not, like I think he's top three in the league still. So it was kind of surprising that he would come here with a lot less competition, obviously,
Yeah.
than playing in La Liga. But yeah, I guess definitely shocked. It was my initial reaction. What about yours?
Yeah, I was shocked too because, like how you're saying, I thought he was gonna go back to Barcelona. We'll get into that later as to why he said he didn't. But yeah, like the writing was on the wall there. You know, he was telling them, "I want to come back. I want to come back. Please, like I'll do. Like I hate Paris. What? Like obviously he had to leave because of all the financial burdens and everything that happened a couple years ago. He didn't want to leave, but like ultimately he had to. And I saw a report where he was saying also that like, he didn't want to go back to Barcelona either because he had saw that that they were gonna have to sell players, cut wages, all that type of stuff. And he was all like, I don't want to be the reason why they have to do that, you know. But when I saw that, like, I honestly thought Barcelona at first too because that's where he wanted to go. He said that money wasn't really like his top priority because obviously the 1.6 billion dollars with a B, yes, one point
Hmm.
six billion dollars. Obviously, that's generational money. But he wanted to go to Barcelona, so I thought he would go there for like how you said, maybe 2 to 4 years. He's still at the top of his like near the top of his game. Um, and then afterwards, I thought maybe he would have come to MLS to finish his career. But the fact that he came here, it just shows that like Barcelona screwed up and that the money was really never an issue. Because if money was the thing, he would have never thought about Barcelona. He would have never thought about Inter Miami. So yeah, he would have just gone straight to Saudi Arabia. We saw he got sanctioned or suspended a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago. Can't remember how long ago it was for
Hmm.
taking an ambassador trip there while during the season with PSG. So yeah, so when I woke up yesterday, man, I was so shocked because I was all like, damn. And I was more annoyed than anything, not because I don't want Messi here in the MLS. Messi's my favorite player of all time. I'm still going to root for LAFC. It's going to be hard to root against Messi, obviously, because I want
Hmm.
him to add more trophies to his collection and all that, more accolades. But I was pissed off because a week ago I was like, I'm gonna buy tickets to LAFC versus Inter Miami. They're only about $100, and then I realized how bad Inter Miami was, and then I was like, maybe I'll just buy him the day of because I don't think Messi will actually come anymore. And then this fast forward to this week, I wake up and I see that shit. And I'm like, oh my god, I messed up. I should have just bought the tickets. I could have been seeing Messi for $100. Now it's like over like $1,000 maybe. I'm like, this is crazy. So I love seeing Messi come to the MLS, but I pissed off that I didn't pull the trigger and I was gonna wait a little just to like save a couple bucks. But now I messed up. I messed up my opportunity. My opportunity to come see Messi when Inter Miami comes to LA to face LAFC. So,
You're just
but
taking
yeah,
L's
man.
with LAFC lately. They're losing in the finals. You're not
Yep.
going to pay more
Can't
to see
spell can't spell LAFC without the L, man. But hey,
Definitely.
reigning MLS Cup champs. So all right. So I just wanted to get into a couple of winners and losers based off of what I see for this. So obviously we're talking Messi to Miami. So for me, the first obvious winner is the MLS. Um, this is their biggest signing since David Beckham back in 2007. This will only and like obviously Beckham was a huge signing. Everybody was shocked, but Messi is the GOAT. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, somebody can say Ronaldo's better, or someone else is better, right? But Messi is one of the top players ever in the history of the game. So to get someone of his caliber who's still playing at a very high level, you could say, is just crazy to get him to come so soon in his career. And not only that, but this is perfect because obviously we're in 2023. I believe he has a 3-year contract where he can opt out after each season, but I believe he will stay and then he'll continue to play here in America and the MLS going into the 2026 World Cup. So obviously, the U.S. is getting ready to host the World Cup with Canada and Mexico, and who better than Messi to be here in the U.S. already to help them grow the game even more than because we saw how much it's grown since David Beckham joined the Galaxy back in '07. So now imagine with Messi joining Inter Miami now, like who's to say whatever that's 16 years. So let's just say 10 to 15, right? Who's to say in 10 to 15 years, let's just see how much bigger like the MLS does grow. Um, so I already mentioned David Beckham, right? So he is my second winner because, like I mentioned, back in 2007, everybody was shocked, and he was set to earn 19.8 million in salary with Real Madrid, but he forewent that money, came here to the Galaxy, and he signed a deal where he was only going to get 6 million in salary. But the thing about that is that he also negotiated his contract to pay huge dividends down the track, right? So now he only got 6 million in salary, but he got revenue of all like the team sales, like the team revenue, like a percentage from it. So tickets, beer, hot dogs, whatever the team was making, he was getting a percentage of it. And not only that, he also inserted a clause. Oh wait, so before I get to that, he eventually earned over $250 million in his first 5 seasons in the MLS. So instead of earning those almost 20 million with Real Madrid in '07, he took about a 13-14 million dollar pay cut, but it ended up paying dividends because he made over 250 million in his first 5 seasons here. And on top of that, he inserted a clause that allowed him to purchase an expansion franchise following his playing career for about $25 million. So I just wanted to highlight this real quick. So the club is valued around $600 million today, and now with the Messi signing and everything, they have a potential to reach. They're aiming towards $1 billion. So imagine that one move where people were like, "Why are you taking that pay cut?" is gonna lead David Beckham to like his master plan is working. So like he got Messi to the MLS, he got his money, a bunch more money than he would have if he would have just stayed in Real Madrid, and that's why I have him as my second winner. So anything you want to say real quick before I mention the third one?
No, I like both of the winners. I know how you said it's the biggest signing since Beckham. Also,
Mm,
say Ibra was a big signing too, but I will say Beckham was
yeah.
more well known at his time of play than Ibra,
Mm,
but definitely a huge signing for both of them. But yeah, I like the winner so far. I'm excited to see who the
yeah.
third winner is.
Well, the third winner, man. Real quick, the Ibra, yeah, obviously Ibra was a big transfer, but like the way Beckham came over here, it was nobody was expecting it, and then it was just a great business plan. I want to say
I think
in
it
the
had the
long run.
shock factor because I
The
think when
shot,
Ibra was
yeah.
coming, there was a lot of talk, and he was more like expected to come once like the
Hmm.
talks initiated. I think for
Yeah,
Messi
yeah.
and Beckham, the shock factor of them actually coming is the part
That's
that's
what
like
makes it,
drawing
yeah.
everyone in. Yeah.
So my third winner is the man that you see right there on the left, the GOAT himself, Lionel Andres Messi.
Messi.
So Messi, Messi,
Messi.
Messi. So his contract will kind of somewhat resemble the one Beckham did. Obviously, not the exact same. But early reports have indicated that Messi will earn a cut of revenue from new Apple TV subscriptions because Apple TV is the like kind of like their league pass, like they have the rights to their streaming services, and he'll also get a cut of revenue from Adidas, plus a potential option to purchase a stake in Inter Miami upon retirement. So that's what I've seen so far with initial reports. Obviously, nothing's been confirmed yet, but that's what the reports have been saying so far. So that's why I have Messi as my third winner, because obviously he's not going to earn as much salary wise here, but I see him going down that David Beckham route where he won't get an expansion franchise for 25 million. I don't think the MLS will let that happen again, knowing how much they've grown and all that, or at least not for that cheap. But
Mm-hmm.
but Messi is thinking long term right here. Could it, like how he said earlier, he could have easily gone to Saudi Arabia, got the 1.6 billion dollars from the Saudi Arabian club, or he could have gone back home to Barcelona, but Barcelona screwed it up for themselves. So Messi ultimately thought of what was best for himself, his family. He didn't want anything to be in the hands of anybody else. So, like how I mentioned earlier, he has that 1+2 contract where first year is guaranteed, and then he has an opt out after each season for a total of 3 years. So what do you think of this list? Or anything you'll want to add to it?
No, I mean, I definitely, obviously, MLS is the biggest winner. How much revenue
Mm-hmm.
this is going to bring in. All
Yep.
the more fans are going to go and get into soccer. It's going to be crazy just of his arrival in the U.S. David Beckham, huge winner. Just how much more money he's just going to make. Uh,
Yep.
and honestly, I think it's a win for Messi. I know he said he came here now he's going to be playing against less competition, but keep in mind he did join. Uh, you could arguably say the worst team in the MLS right now, which is
Mm-hmm.
Inter Miami. So if he's able to bring this team to in the top standings, you could see how good of a player he still is. So that's actually going to be a good challenge for him. Maybe he's not playing against competition like individually wise, but now he's going to have the hardest. He's going to be on the worst team, and he's trying to bring them to the top of the
Mm-hmm.
league. So I salute him for that because every single club team he's been on for 19 seasons, they've not finished less than third in their league standings. So we'll see if he's able to keep that going in the MLS. Um, we'll see. I'm really excited to see what his contract was because it's going to be crazy
Yeah,
to see
like the official. Yeah.
how he turned down, let's say, or the 1.6 billion biggest
Mm-hmm.
contract offered in sports history of any sport ever, and
Yeah.
let's see how much money he turned down. I still think with the Apple
The Apple
whatever,
TV
yeah,
subs.
yeah,
Yeah.
Apple TV share and then the Adidas share, um, and his
They'll make
contract.
up for it.
I think he's going to be making maybe like half a bill, maybe 500 mil.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see what it comes out. I'm excited to see, but more excited to see him in person. I've seen Messi once in
Yeah.
person. This was
Nice.
about 12 years ago. This was actually, or I don't know how long ago, but it was when David Beckham was on Galaxy. They played a friendly against
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona at the Home Depot Center. That's what it used to be called back in the day.
Yeah.
I went to the game. I sat behind the net, and Beckham scored a free kick. Uh, on that goal, and it was one of the best games I've ever been to. Messi played the first half. Every time
Mm-hmm.
Messi got the ball, the whole stadium's chanting Messi.
Yeah.
And he only played the first half because it was just a friendly, but it was the only time I ever saw him live. It was so long ago, I only remember little parts, but now I'm excited to go to a game, however many years later, and see the
Mm-hmm.
GOAT in person again. So
Yeah, so I just wanted to say we here at the Sports Planet podcast, we're starting a GoFundMe. If you'd like to send Daniel and I to go see Messi play here in Los Angeles, you can Venmo, not GoFundMe, you can Venmo us or Zelle us. We take anything, Cash App, whatever you like.
yeah,
Any donation is greatly accepted.
exactly. We need it all.
Yeah. So just moving on to the losers now. So first on my list is Saudi Arabia. As you can see, if you can see it on here, it says Al Hilal. That's the team that's the club that offered him the 1.6 billion dollar contract for 3 years. So that would have been a little over 533 million per season. That is insane. But I have them as our loser because obviously they didn't land Messi, and two, it shows that money cannot buy everything, including Messi. Uh, so it's just crazy because they gave him $1.6 billion. And then I also realized as I was looking into this that this club, Al Hilal, is the rival club to Cristiano Ronaldo's current club, Al Nasir. So I'm all like, I don't want to speculate and be like, oh, he didn't want to be back in the Ronaldo, like Messi conversation, you know. But that's also like a little like thing I saw that I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting, you know.
Yeah.
And then for my second loser, can you guess who it is?
My guess is Barca, but we'll see if I'm right.
Damn right, it is FC
There we
Barcelona. Because obviously, at the end of the day, money was never the biggest factor for Messi. He just wanted to go home. But Barca only gave him a proposal. They never offered him an official contract, right? And then he also said that he decided to sign with Miami to ensure his future was in his own hands and not in the hands of a club. Like how I mentioned earlier, the financial burdens ended up essentially forced him to leave the only club he ever knew at that point when he left in 2021. So that's why I have FC Barcelona as another loser. He wanted to go home for a reunion, but the Barcelona handled this situation so poorly that eventually it left Messi no choice but to do what was best for his own family and himself, you know. So I just wanted to show you this real quick before I get your opinion on this. This is what I just said right now. So this is what Messi had to say. Obviously, I had a lot of hope that I would be able to return to Barcelona, but after what happened and the way I left, I didn't want to go through the same situation and leave my future in someone else's hands. I had to make my own decision, thinking about me and my family. I made the decision that I'm going to Miami. So like how I just said it right now. And then this was what like kind of was like, why are you guys doing this? The official statement from FC Barcelona on Messi's decision to play for Inter Miami. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
This is like why did Messi ever want to go back, right? So right here, this is from the official website. FC Barcelona wishes Lionel Messi the best of luck in his new professional phase, right? Okay, that's fine. And then so you go down here where it says on Monday, June 5th, Jorge Messi, the player's father and representative and former club president, Joan Laporta, of the player's decision to join Inter Miami, blah, 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 whatever, right? And then the next paragraph, President Laporta had said, it says right here, President Laporta understood and respected Messi's decision to want to compete in a league with fewer demands, further away from the spotlight and the pressure he has been subject in recent years. Are you serious right now?
That's like a slight jab.
Yeah, like literally, you're trying to shade Messi right now for not joining your club. They're over here saying we sent him a proposal, but it was never an official like contract offer, you know? So how are you going to be Messi saying, I want to go home, I want to go home? Your guys' mess up with financial burdens and all that, you guys ruined this for yourself because if you guys had never gone in this like whole financial situation, Messi would have never left. But if you guys would have found out a way to get out of it, you guys would have been fine. Like now, that's why Spotify essentially took over the whole thing. So now it's not Camp Nou, it's Spotify Camp Nou, you know? So it's like they had to sell so much stuff, so many rights to the namings of everything, just so they can make money back. And it's all like, dude, you guys screwed this one up. Messi is saying, I am at your doorstep. Just open the door. And it's like as if they were upstairs being like, no one's home. Come back later. You know, like, bro, you guys messed this up. So, like, what's your reaction to this?
Well, definitely that's a little bit passive aggressive. He's just like, oh, like, we just want to wish Messi like good luck playing in a league with people that aren't as good.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it essentially is. It's like a just trying to be nice and being rude at the same exact time. And yeah, it sucks because all the reports have led Messi didn't even want to leave in 2021. He wanted to stay in Barca, and they couldn't get the job done. Comes back 2 years later to give him an option. Probably would have finished his career there if they were able to do it. And they fumbled the bag again to the greatest player of all time. And yeah, you could be like the headline of the article is nice, and then once you read into the article, it's just like, oh, let's just throw slight jabs at him not coming back.
Exactly.
So now I could kind of see if that's how they've been, I understand even more that that's why he chose a different route. So yeah, that's an L for
Yeah,
Barca.
definitely. Yeah, I also saw something real quick that supposedly there was a report. I don't know how true it was or not. That he could potentially be loaned to Barca for this first year that he's supposed to be with Inter Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and then rejoin them once the new season starts for Inter Miami next season. I don't know how true that is, but after seeing this, I'm like, why would Messi want to go? Like he's over here saying like, oh, you chose them because you don't want to be with us in the spotlight. Like just stay over
Mm-hmm.
there essentially. So I don't know
Yeah.
why Messi would want to go over there. But yeah, that's what I have for this. Anything else you'd like to mention before moving on to our next topic?
Can we go back to the loser page real quick?
Loser page? Yeah, one sec.
Yeah. So I just want to say, what the offer was 1.6 billion. I'm so curious to see if he went there. Were they actually going to make more than 1.6 billion of him being there? Because that just seems like a crazy amount that they're going to make off one player. Like in my mind, I'm
Yeah,
just like, how much revenue is that Saudi Arabia team going to bring in that's going to pay off this contract?
I don't know about the revenue, but they definitely have more than enough money
Well,
to
they got that
pitch.
oil money
Yeah,
there, so they're chilling. But I was
yeah,
just like, I wonder
they're
if they were
fine.
gonna profit off it,
Who knows?
in
Yeah.
a way, because I was just like, that's a crazy amount. Like, I could understand like off
Uh,
from like 200 mil, 400 mil, and then they're making like 900 million to a billion like in revenue. But off from 1.6, I mean, they have to be making over
yeah.
2 to 3 billion in revenue if he comes. So I want to know what their like format was, but that
Who
oil money's
knows?
just crazy out there.
They're just throwing money out there. I'm
But
gonna change my name to Messi. Maybe they'll offer me that.
you
I
know, it's
mean,
funny. I didn't know the team that offered it was the opposing team of Ronaldo.
yeah, I
Um,
didn't either till earlier today.
and I think that's actually kind of like, I mean, I can understand people saying, "Oh, he just scared of Ronaldo. He doesn't want to deal with that anymore." So
Yeah.
people are gonna talk or whatever.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, do you think he like wants to live in Saudi Arabia? I don't
I don't
think he
know.
would
I
want to
mean,
live out there
obviously,
too.
if they have that much money, I feel like it would be a nice area, you know.
Hmm.
But then again, you also have Miami. I don't want to say how Saudi Arabia looks because I don't know how it looks. I've
Yeah.
never been there. I don't know how that particular city looks, but I'm
Hmm.
assuming it should be nice, like because they have that much money, so they should
Yeah.
have a nice area. Like it should be nicer than Miami, that's for sure. But Miami is gonna be a great city for him. It's super sunny, super humid, but it's a nice
Yeah.
area.
And you got
So
those Miami thoughts all over. So
yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I
we'll
saw
see
a
if
tweet
that
where they're
played a
all like,
factor in it.
I saw a tweet where there said like it was like LeBron where he keeps looking over like at the free throw line, and they're like Messi at his first practice seeing all the BBLs. It's like what? Yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah. I mean I only put two up here, but I did see somebody else mention one loser that I wouldn't mind adding here as well. The MLS defenders.
Oh,
That's gonna suck having to defend a world class player like Messi. So everybody's gonna have to go 11-on-1 once Messi has the ball,
I'm
and
excited
all
to see it.
yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, that's all I have for the Messi. Can't wait to see how that turns out. Can't wait to see when his first game officially is.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's see if he can get Inter Miami from the bottom to the top of the like. Obviously, not to first place, but at least get them back in the playoff contention.
Oh, prediction real
Uh,
quick. What number you think he's gonna be?
10,
10?
10. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they have a number 10 right now, but
Hmm.
if they don't, if they
I'm
do,
gonna have to look it
I'm
up.
sorry, you're not number 10 anymore. I don't care. Messi was
You
Messi
changed.
took 30 in PSG because like one of his good friends, Neymar, was number 10 in
Hmm.
PSG. So he was able like, all right, you were here first, you keep it. Dude, I don't care who the hell. Let's see. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I mean, it's between three numbers that he's gonna pick because that's the same three numbers he had his whole career.
Dude, because it was 10, 30, and
Oh, they don't have a 10.
they don't have a 10. Oh, it
Nope.
looks like David Beckham was like, nobody's taking 10. Nobody's good enough.
Because they have
Yeah,
a they have a 19 and they have a
they have a 9
30.
and a
So
12.
yeah, but because I'm
Oh,
saying
19 was his
his
first
three
number when
numbers
he
are
got to
his
Barca,
19.
right?
Yeah, 19,
Yeah,
30, and 10 are his three numbers he's only
yeah.
worn, and they were
There's no,
already
no
wearing a 19 and 30. So Looks like he's 10, baby.
There's no, yeah. Well, that's the number one number to have in soccer when you're a playmaker.
Yes,
So he's
sir.
taking number 10 back. But yeah, man, that's all I have for this. So I'm just gonna move on to PGA real quick. We'll just go through it really quick. I know we here at the Sports Planet podcast, we don't really pay attention to golf, but when we do, it's because of this big type of controversy, right? So right here in this tweet, it says the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and PIF announced landmark agreement to unify men's professional golf. So if you're just looking at it as a common bystander, you're like, that's not bad, right? Who cares? But what it really comes down to is this. So right here it says agree, like this is from the PGA, the link that it takes you to. It says agreement establishes common goal to promote and grow the game globally for the benefit of all stakeholders and ends litigation. So when I see it say for the benefit of all stakeholders, you're essentially saying if it's gonna make us money, we don't give a damn. So how I said PIF earlier, Public Investment Fund, PIF right there. So part of their golf-related commercial businesses and rights include LIV Golf. Okay, so if I don't know how much you know about this, right? But last year, Saudi Arabia, coming into play again, created a huge, like another league, professional league, and was taking players from the PGA Tour. So at that point, PGA Tour was saying, you can't go there. If you go there, you don't have any morals. They're doing this, that, and that. Like, how do you think they got their money? You know, like they're funding bad stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So if you go and take the bag that they're offering you, then you will not come back to the PGA Tour ever. You're banned, right? So a lot of players were getting a lot of money, bags thrown at them, and two major players that didn't take one were Tiger Woods. He was offered around $800 million to join the Saudi Arabian League, declined it, and Rory McIlroy, he was offered around $500 million to join them. And it's just crazy because like the PGA was so getting on top of other players saying, don't go there. They have no morals, this and that, whatever, right? So if you want to look at it as an easier way, I saw this tweet. And it says, Saudi Arabia. Hey, PGA golfers, we have a bunch of money to offer you for our new league. PGA Tour said, you're ruining the game and sports washing your reputation of human rights abuses. Saudi Arabia. Okay, but what if we offered you, the PGA Tour, a lot of money? PGA. Today we'd like to announce a merger with Saudi Arabia. So, it's just crazy. And I'm going to show you this clip. I want to see your reaction. I didn't show you before because I wanted to get your honest reaction right here. Mm-hmm. So this is the PGA Tour Commissioner, Jay Monahan. I hope I said that right. So in this video, when all this news was breaking out, this was him bringing up 9/11 as a reason for players to ignore the LIV and stay loyal to the PGA, right? So this is what he had to say. You can see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you about this. There was a story that first reported in the New York Post yesterday by Brian Wacker about a 9/11 coalition of families and survivors of the 2001 terrorist attacks. 9/11 Families United sent a letter to the representatives of Phil, Dustin, Bryson, Reed, and others, quote, expressing their outrage towards the golfers for participating in the new league and accusing them of sports washing and betraying the United States, end quote. And that's gotten a lot of steam over the last 24 hours. That story first reported again in the New York Post. How much did you talk to your players about the possible ramifications if they sign on with the new league?
Well, I talked to players. I've talked at a player meeting, and I've talked to a number of players individually for a long period of time. And I think you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that there are significant implications. And as it relates to the families of 9/11, I have two families that are close to me that lost loved ones. And so my heart goes out to them. And I would ask, any player that has left or any player that would ever consider leaving, have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour?
Bruh.
What the fuck?
Bruh.
Saying
Right?
you're racist without saying you're
Okay.
racist.
Okay, before you get to anything, he said the players who would have to be living under a rock to not know the significant implications, and say he's close to 2 families who lost loved ones during 9/11. Right? Are you living under a rock now? Then, like,
Dude.
what would you tell the player? What would you tell the families? This and that, and like, have you ever had to apologize for being part of PGA Tour? What are you gonna tell the 2 families now? Last year, you're over here telling all the players, you PGA Tour is being hypocritical. They were torching all the players that left to get money, generational money, more money than they were making in the PGA Tour. They would tell them, "Oh, don't worry about what you were making in the past. You can make even more in the future."
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. It's like he wanted to bring up 9/11. What are you going to tell you the 2 families that you know about that as to why you agreed to this merger with LIV Golf, huh? That is so hypocritical, dude. It's not like, oh, you guys can't do it, but when we're making the money, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you have to say about this shit?
I just think it's just crazy. That's the thing you bring up to try to make the golfers feel bad. It's just there's no correlation like at all, and they're just digging deep into their fucking just because it's a Middle Eastern country that they're just trying to dig deep into some racist shit to make players feel bad. And then it's funny because second they get offered the money, they're like, oh, we're fine with it now. Like we're cool.
Yeah.
Like once the money's for them, they're like, oh yeah, we're fine. But when the money's for their players and they're gonna lose their players, obviously if they're losing their players, they're losing money. And it's funny how they try to make it seem like it's about something else, but all they give a fuck about is the money. And then now
That's
they're
all.
trying to hurt all the other players like with it. So
Mhm.
I didn't know much about PGA, to be honest. The only thing I ever know is Tiger Woods is the GOAT and he cheated on his wife a bunch of times. That's about all I know about PGA. But
Yeah.
learning this now, I don't want to even know more about PGA because that's just it's just all types of wrong all the way around, and it's a shame on them.
Yeah, man. And then I'm not gonna show the video anymore, but just one thing Colin Cowherd said, and on his show, obviously we always joke around, mess with Colin Cowherd's takes, but this time he actually says something that I agreed with, and essentially he was saying how that he got offered money to go read stuff for LIV Golf, but he declined it, whatever, blah blah blah, and he was saying, don't badmouth others who do what's best for themselves, right? Because he's all like, you guys, you as the PGA Tour, were saying this and that, whatever. Don't do that, don't do this, and it's all like, but he was like, when I said no, I wasn't badmouthing the other broadcasters who went and like got money, did what was best for themselves. Because you never know what that money helps them with. It could be sending your kid to college, getting a house, get generational money, obviously, like anything they're going to use that money for stuff that they maybe didn't have the money for before. Now they have it because they took this other job, so it's just crazy to think about. And then I just wanted to show this really quick before finishing off with the PGA and LIV Golf. This little meme real quick. It says the LIV players taking the money and coming back to the PGA Tour. They're all just coming back.
That's funny.
Yeah, so yeah, that's yeah. I might just wanted to end with something light right there because
Yeah.
obviously it's this and that, whatever. At the end of the day, these players are doing what's best for themselves, and they were saying, don't take the money or you'll never come back. And guess what? They took the money and now they're coming back. So if anything, I feel bad for the players that declined those huge bags. I'm sure that's a part of the reason why Rory and Tiger didn't want to leave, because they didn't want to tarnish their PGA legacy for that all that money. But it's all like, dude, you guys should have left. You guys would have been gone for less than a year and then come back with all this money and you're still on the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy. I feel bad for those that didn't go because I'm sure there's a bunch of people, a bunch of golfers that were pissed off saying they were telling us what about our morals, this and that. And now look at you guys completely like not giving a fuck about us.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say about PGA before moving on?
No, I think I'm good on PGA.
All right, so I think we're just going to take a quick little break right here, and we'll be back with NBA Finals and how Russell Wilson said no to the Eagles. All right, welcome back, everyone. Part of the interruption. We had to cut things a little short earlier, but we're back for part 2 of this episode. A little longer than usual, so we're sorry about that, but it's all worth it, promise. So like we mentioned earlier, we're going to start off with the NBA Finals. So far, there's 3 games have been played. Denver, of course, is up 2-1, and so far, it's so good for Denver. You know, obviously Miami stole one on the road in Game 2, but I just don't see how Denver lets this one get. I just don't see how Denver lets this one get out of their own reach, you know? So what have you seen so far from the first 3 games, Daniel?
So I just want to say before any game started, if you look back and listen to the last podcast, I said before game 1 that Kevin Love should start and
Yeah,
Jimmy Butler should be guarding Jamal Murray. So go into game 1, fast forward to game 1, Nuggets kind of blow out the Heat. Didn't maybe not blow out, but they were in control the whole game. It didn't seem like there was much of a challenge. And everyone's being like, "Wow, time to bring out the brooms," because they just dominated them. And then, like I said, in game 2, Eric Spoelstra makes the adjustment that I said before game 1 even started. Not to toot my own horn, but my analysis was on point.
Not the 2, but 2-2.
He started Kevin Love because
Yeah,
they needed size against this big team. He had
definitely.
Butler on Murray. Compared to the first game, Murray guarded Butler, I think, on 4 to 5 possessions. In game 2, he guarded him for about 30 to 35 possessions. So you could see the big difference that made. And then Heat were able to steal game 2 on the road. I expected them to steal game 2 more likely than game 1 because Denver was coming on a lot more rest than the Heat were. So their Heat were a little bit more fatigued. Everyone wants to talk about altitude. Some players say it doesn't affect them. Some does. So I believe there is some truth to it. So I felt game 1, they're just getting there. They're not really adjusted to that. And by game 2, they're basically adjusted to the altitude. They're on the same amount of rest as the Denver Nuggets since they played game 1 at the same time. So then I felt they had a better chance of winning game 2. And like I said, they won game 2. It was a close game at the end. They almost blew the lead at the end, but they were able to pull away. And then now game 3 happened. And I believe, I didn't know who's going to win. I have a feeling that game 3 and 4 are going to be split. So now that Nuggets have won game 3, I'm taking Heat winning game 4. Because basically, if they lose game 4, I would say the series is just about over. But those were like that was the main thing I saw in game 2. Jokic has been balling out of his mind.
Definitely.
Close to averaging a triple-double. He's at 33 points. He's at 14 rebounds and 9 assists. And Murray's at 26 points and averaging 10 assists. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't think Murray I didn't watch too much of the Nuggets, so I didn't know he was that good of a passer. But when Murray's playing like this and Jokic is going to do what he does, averaging nearly a triple-double, this team is very hard to beat. And their third star, which is supposed to be Michael Porter Jr., has basically been almost non-existent this
Except for like one game,
series. Yeah, he had like one decent game, and then the first game he did well on the boards, but other than that, Aaron Gordon has been their go-to third guy, and he's been consistently giving them 10 to 15 points a night, and that's been the boost that they need. But yeah, I mean, I'm still saying Heat in 7. I'm still saying that. I know they're the underdogs, but I still feel confident that they're able to do it. They're just going to have to come out with a different type of mindset and intensity in game 4 than in game 3. Because game 3 lacked a little bit of effort. It seemed on the boards they're getting out-rebounded. and everyone just shot poorly in Game 3. And this series has been, like everyone says, it's a make or miss league, but I feel like this series has been a lot like if once one team shoots poorly, it's almost game over for them. Like as a Laker fan, we shot poorly, but we had such good defense that kept us in games, and I felt like that's not the case for either one of these teams. If one shoots poorly, it's not looking good. So it's kind of what I saw for the first 3 games. What about you?
No, yeah, definitely. Like how you were saying, like with the Lakers. I'm sorry, Mike Malone. Look at us mentioning the Lakers. But yeah, like how you were saying with the Lakers. Obviously they're always going to have their shooting woes because we're not a shooting team. But the thing about that is the shooting woes obviously are coming from the 3-point line, but the Lakers dominate in the paint. So even if they're not 0 for 20, let's just say 3 for 20, it doesn't matter because they still have a chance to be making the majority of their baskets in the paint. So they could have, let's just say, like 20 to 25, like around 25 to 30 field goals within the paint. And it's all like at the end of the day, that's what we saw in the Warriors series as well. It's all like it's the 2-point team versus the 3-point shooting team. And obviously the Lakers, like how you mentioned, the Lakers had the defense to overcome those shooting woes. So yeah, but and then you were mentioning Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Like how you said, Nikola Jokic, 33 points, 14 rebounds, almost 10 assists with 9.3, nearly averaging a triple-double. And it was just crazy. Like in Game 3, he had that 30-20-10 triple-double, historic. And then the most important thing is that he's shooting 59% field goal percentage and 44% from 3. So it's just crazy because he's been highly efficient. And obviously we know he could score. We know he can play make, like really dish the ball. But the rebounds have been like the thing that have been catching my attention. Obviously, we don't really pay attention to the Nuggets, so we know what he can do. But to see that he's also being a big man in terms of rebounding, that's huge for the team. And then Jamal Murray, you mentioned him. So those two have been playing really well off each other. And then, like how you mentioned, MPJ, we expect him to be the third star, but it's been more Aaron Gordon. And even KCP, man, he's only averaging 6 points a game, and it's all like, and he's shooting 22% from 3. So it's all like, and the thing is that they're still doing well enough with the other players because they only go 8 deep. So it's all, obviously the 5 starters and 3 off the bench. So it doesn't hurt as much for them compared as it would for the Heat because they have Nikola Jokic averaging 33. You have Jamal Murray averaging 26. And it's all like, and then they got Aaron Gordon right after them. So it's all like that KCP has to shoot better as well. Don't get me wrong. But as of right now, I don't see Denver losing. Not another game, but I don't see them losing the series. So I just wanted to mention like how I'm talking about right now. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. I think Bam has had a great series. Everybody obviously thought Jimmy would be like the main guy, but Bam has stepped up shooting. He has 23 points, averaging 23 points, 13 rebounds and a block. Jimmy's averaging nearly 21 points, 4 rebounds, and almost 7 assists. But the thing for me is, like I was mentioning, if the Heat are going to have a chance, they need that core of the undrafted players that were playing so well in that Celtics series to step up. Because besides Gabe Vincent, who's averaging 16.3 points on 46% 3-point shooting, you have Caleb Martin, 5 points. Duncan Robinson averaging 7 points. Max Strus averaging just shy of 6 points. So it's all like, with those 3, Martin, Robinson, and Strus, they're averaging combined 18.3. So obviously, like I said, Gabe Vincent's averaging 16.3. But Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, that is not going to cut it. Bam and Jimmy can't do everything by themselves, kind of like how Murray and Nikola Jokic can, because they play so well off each other that it doesn't matter if somebody else is having a bad day because they'll find someone that is having a good day that day to help them out as that third player. So it's just not going to cut it in the series against the Nuggets, as powerful a team as they are. The Heat need that undrafted core of players that we were all clamoring about, like throughout the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, to be like, wow, look at how much of an impact they're having. and now they're nowhere to be seen in the biggest stage at the so they're disappearing at the worst time possible for the Heat. So if the Heat are going to have any chance, they need Strus, Martin, and Robinson to really step up.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree too because they basically were stars in the last series, and now
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
becoming almost non-existent. But I will say, it sucks because Bam shouldn't be the best player on the Heat right now in this series. It should be
But he
Butler,
is, yeah.
and that's a sad thing. And I know I've read some things that Butler has a tweaked ankle, this and that, but even with that, if Butler's not their best player right now, and you're having Bam outplay him, it's going to be hard to win this series. And you could see the two stars, Murray and Jokic, are outplaying the two stars of Bam and Butler
Definitely.
by a mile. So even if the other stars even if the undrafted players are able to step up a little bit, it's going to be hard if Butler and Bam are still playing at that type of level. They got to take it up a notch, especially Butler. In game 3, I saw Butler. What they did a lot is because they switch on almost every screen. So they just screen Murray every time they get Butler off him, and they just switch. So then Murray was just attacking all the other defenders that were guarding him besides Butler. And that's how we went off, I think, 20 points in the first half because they just switch on every screen just to get Butler off him. And that's what led to them winning that game 3 because when Murray's playing the way he does, this team is nearly going to be unbeatable because Jokic is going to do what Jokic does each single game. Like there's no stopping him. The only way to beat this team is to stop Murray. So they need to figure out something to stop him. I don't like Strus starting. I'd rather have Martin starting, even though he's not having that good of a series. But I feel like Martin did so well that he needs those minutes because now I feel like when his minutes are becoming diminished, he seems more of a rhythm shooter to me. So it takes him a little bit longer to get in his rhythm if he's has limited minutes. Duncan Robinson, he did win game 2 for him. I'll be honest. He came out and scored 8 points in 1 minute in the fourth quarter, and that kind of gave him that burst in there. But he's kind of been a little inconsistent, I will say. So yeah, I mean, they definitely need help from these stars. They play a 10-man rotation. I don't even think they need to do that. Cody Zeller probably shouldn't even be playing. Every time he's in, he gets cooked by Jokic. I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, why don't they just stack Bam and Jokic's minutes at the same time? So Jokic go out, you take Bam out. That's what I've noticed in this series too, because when Butler's off the floor and Murray's going, he's not being guarded by Butler, he'll just go off. So I'm just like, in my mind as a coach, I would stack minutes. So whenever Murray's on, Butler's on. Whenever Jokic's on, Bam. They go out to rest, you take them out to rest. And that's how I feel would be the best way to stack it, because you want your best players up against their best players. And I mean, yeah, I'm not a fucking NBA Hall of Fame coach like Eric Spoelstra, but I feel like that's something that's pretty logical to do that he hasn't done. So we'll see if he makes any adjustments going forward. But yeah, this Jokic and Murray duo just is playing crazy, and I'm still hoping for the Heat. I got hope. If they win Game 4, my hope's there. If they lose Game 4,
they have to win Game 4.
My hope goes out the window because my prediction was they split 1 and 2. Well, I've picked Heat to win Game 2. I said they're going to split at home, so it's going to go 2-2 back to Denver. Then Denver wins at home, Heat win at home, and then Heat win in Game 7. That's my prediction set before the series started. So we'll see if I'm close.
I don't know, man. We'll see, but man, I agree with you. Strus should be. Martin should be starting over Strus because even though they're both around 5-ish points, but Caleb Martin is shooting 4 of 9 for that 44% from 3, whereas Strus is shooting 5 for 23, which is good for 22%. So it's all like how you were saying, Caleb Martin's becoming more of a rhythm shooter, whereas when he was the starter, he was going to get the ball, he was going to attack or create, But yeah, Jamal, like how you said, we all know what Nikola Jokic is going to do. But the fact that Jamal Murray is playing this well just makes it so much easier for Jokic. And obviously Jokic is going to be the one that wins Finals MVP if they end up pulling this out. But Murray, that's not to say anything bad about Murray. Murray, if Jokic wasn't on this team, they probably wouldn't be here. But I'm just saying Murray has been playing so well that his numbers are MVP-like for a final series. But the fact that his teammate is just that much better is just crazy. I mean, like, I feel like the only way you're going to be able to stop Jokic is if you tell him, "Oh, your horse is sick. Come check it out real quick. Come home." It's all like there's nothing you can do. Like, I don't know if you saw Kevin Durant's tweet where it was all like, "Man, he doesn't care about being a star. He just wants to FaceTime his horses." It's like
I didn't see that, but that's funny.
You didn't see it? No,
No, I didn't.
He deleted it, but obviously there's never anything fully deleted off the internet.
Yes.
But yeah, that was funny.
Another thing I want to say about Jokic is I watch Jokic play, and I'll be honest with you, he is not like he's one of the most like boring superstars to watch. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but if you actually watch him, he makes the right play 99% of the time. He doesn't force anything, never seems to be like rushing it, just always makes the right pass, the right shot. Oh, seems to always be in the right position. His IQ is just so good. And he does nothing like spectacular, but he's just that smart and that big that he's nearly unstoppable. And I just watch him play, and I'm just like, he doesn't do anything. I'm just like, oh, he's not dunking on anyone, not doing any fancy moves, and he like some of his passes are a little flashy, but other than that, I'm just like, man, this guy is so good and doesn't have like any flaws in his offensive game. Defense, he's actually not that bad defensively. He's not as agile, but it's just crazy to watch him. Just seems to never make a mistake, and is somehow no one can stop him, and he's not even that flashy. So
yeah, so this is a tweet right here. It was deleted. I don't know why, because this one was pretty funny, KD, and I'm sure Jokic would agree with you. It says, "I don't think Jokic wants or cares to be a star. He goes to work and go home, FaceTime his horses, and hop in the pool." It's like he just wants the simple things in life, you know. Yeah. And I believe this was a response to, I can't remember what analyst or what commentator said that Jokic would be a bigger star if he was American. So I feel like that was KD's response to that, which is not true. I mean, Jokic isn't a star. He's a star, but he doesn't get as much coverage because, one, he's in Denver, and two, he's not that flashy type of player. He's just that player where he's like, I want to kind of compare him to like Tim Duncan in terms of his demeanor, how simple everything comes to him, you know, like, I don't know, man. Like, it just like, obviously Tim Duncan was in San Antonio with Greg Popovich. Now Jokic is in Denver. But it's kind of like you can't say if he was American, he'd be a bigger star, because you see Luka over here being a great star, but that's also attributed to his play style. You know, he is in a bigger market, kind of like in Dallas, because it's Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, like they say. So yeah, but
that's definitely a weird take, saying if he was American, he'd be a bigger star.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but someone said it. Yeah. It's
funny that you say Tim Duncan, because I was talking to a friend, and we literally compared him to Tim Duncan, because he's just Mr. Fundamental. He does all the fundamentals completely right, always just making the right basketball move, and does nothing like you just look and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. He just always just does the right thing, and it leads to winning basketball. And that's exactly how Tim Duncan was. No one's just like, oh, I can't wait to see Tim Duncan play. It's like, oh, Tim Duncan's gonna do what he does. He's gonna make the right play. He's gonna help his team win, and that's the same type of player that Jokic is.
Yeah,
so I think that's a good comparison, and I like it.
That's why a lot of people leave Tim Duncan off their all-time greats. Like, when they're talking about the greats, it's not because Tim Duncan wasn't one of the greatest of all time. He's definitely up there, but it's because of the play style and the demeanor. He wasn't out there doing commercials, like all in your face, kind of, you know. But look at us talking about everyone except for, we're talking about the Nuggets, but we're mentioning everyone while we're talking about the Nuggets. And and I saw this, and Mike Malone, it kind of reminded me of earlier when I saw this, Mike Malone seeing the Messi to Miami news on the day of Game 3. Obviously, Game 3 was yesterday, but it's how seeing all these memes, it was so funny. And then you have this one right here, Mike Malone seeing everyone is focused on Zion's porn star addiction, LeBron and Kyrie rumors, Messi coming to Miami before Game 3.
What more do you want from me?
It's all like, Mike Malone, man, you're never gonna win. And I don't know, did you see when he mentioned the Lakers on his own? The Polaroid.
Oh, was it the picture?
Yeah.
I thought that was a slight jab, but We'll take it. They won.
we'll
They
take
got
it.
they got the sweep. But he's a little Lakers are living rent free in his head.
Rent free,
Seems a
definitely.
little bit. But they swept us, so can't say too much.
Yeah, I'm not mad about.
They
No,
got
I'm not
us.
mad about. I'm not mad about that. I just found it funny how he's always saying, the Lakers aren't here. Why are you guys talking about him?" But it's like you're the one that keeps mentioning him. I can't find it. Whatever. So yeah. I've last thing I want to say about this real quick. Miami needs to win Game 4. If they lose, it's over in 5, obviously, because I don't see them going on the road after losing both at home and then going on the road to Denver, high altitude. And then Jokic and Murray are playing unstoppable right now. They need to win Game 4 in order to have a chance, because if you might as well just end the series after Game 4 if Denver wins. Anything else you want to say before moving on to the next topic or our final topic?
I was gonna ask you just what was your prediction? I know you picked Nuggets, but how many games? Because I picked Heat in 7 before it started, so I want to.
I can't remember. I want to say I had said Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets in 6.
So in order for that to happen, I need Miami to win tomorrow, because I don't see them. I don't see the Nuggets winning, or I don't see the Nuggets winning Game 4 and then losing Game 5 at home. So Miami, if you want my prediction to come right, win Game 4, and then the Nuggets will finish off the last 2 games in Game 5 and 6.
All right, we'll see. We'll see who's right. Man. One of us gonna be right. So
one of us gonna be all right. It might not be the games, but one of us will get the correct champion. You know.
Yeah, we're close.
I mean, Denver should be thankful that they were able to have this time. You know, they're in the finals, their first time in franchise history, but. Kind of moving on to the next topic, one thing I'm thankful for is Russell Wilson. If you know me, you know I'm an Eagle fan, and I'm sure you all, or most people, have seen this news. Russell Wilson, the Eagles reportedly had a deal, and quote unquote, basically done to acquire Russell Wilson from the Seahawks before last season. However, Wilson nixed the deal. So, Russell Wilson, thank you so much as an Eagle fan, man. I know we have to be unbiased, but I don't know, man. I just want to say thank you so much on behalf of I was gonna dude, when I saw this, I was so happy. Because obviously if the Eagles make this trade, I'll come back to this real quick. This is what they gave up, this is what the Broncos gave up for Russell Wilson, right? So they got Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick in exchange for going to Seattle, tight end Noah Fant, quarterback Drew Lock. Who cares? He sucks. Defensive end Shelby Harris, 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and a 2022 5th-round pick. So it's all of that, just to finish worse than the Raiders. Who? The Raiders! Come on, man. You gave up so much. I'm not saying Drew Lock is a lot. I'm saying you guys gave up a lot of draft capital to finish worse in a division that includes the Raiders. Congrats. So thank you, Russell Wilson. Because if you would have said yes, he also declined a trade to the Washington Commanders. I can't blame you on that. But if you would have said yes, we never have Jalen Hurts ascending to superstardom. Sure, Eagles lost in the Super Bowl. One team loses every year in the Super Bowl. Who cares? This will only give Jalen Hurts more motivation, not the news. I'm talking about the Super Bowl loss. That'll give him more motivation to come back even stronger. But I just want to say, Russell Wilson, thank you so much for not ruining the Eagles' future. Who knows how many players they would have gotten rid of. We had so many first-rounders that we would have lost out on. Like this year, we had Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. I'm sure some of those first-rounders would have been gone. And last year, we had a couple other first-rounders and Jordan Davis, and then they used a first-rounder to get A.J. Brown. And they ended up trading one other first-rounder last year that turned into Jalen Carter this year. So I'm just thank you so much for saying no, because 1, we would not have made the Super Bowl. 2, we probably would have missed the playoffs. You would have been worse than the team in Dallas. And 3, we wouldn't have all this young talent and be stacked for the next 5 years. Because Howie, our GM, is a cap god. He knows how to get things done, and he knows how to work everything from now on. So Jalen Hurts got this big extension, rightfully so, but it's not going to hurt the Eagles cap-wise as much as these other big contracts will for the other teams. So I know you're not really big on football, but like, what was your reaction when you saw this news?
Same as you. I was happy for the Eagles because, like I said, after Rams, Eagles is my second team I go for. I know you're thankful for it because
Definitely.
you love Jalen Hurts. So I was like, when I
Yep.
saw this, I was just like, Brandon must be a happy guy. So it looks like things worked out for the Eagles and things did not work out for the Broncos. And sometimes that's just the way it happens. And happy that this trade didn't go down. And Eagles will win they're going to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. So that's my prediction.
Bold prediction. They're winning it this year. They're going back to the Super Bowl, and they'll beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's a good
Super Bowl
prediction.
58. All right. So anything else you want to say before wrapping this up?
No, just want to say Messi.
So I just want to finish this off with saying that instead of Russell Wilson being in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, of course, chanting "Fly, Eagles, fly," he's over there in the Mile High City known as Denver, crying out, "Broncos country, let's ride to the bottom of the division. Let's go." But thank you, Russell Wilson, so much from the bottom of my heart. All of Eagles Nation, thanks you for saying no to the Eagles. Well, any final words you want to say before taking off?
Donate to our Venmo so we could go see Messi play. Also, if you want to buy us a jersey, more than welcome. DM me on Instagram, send me some money. I'm fine with it. Other than that, Heat in 7 still.
There it is. They know where to find us if they want to reach out to us at _Brandon Zamora and at Brutally Honest Help. If you guys just DM us, we'll send you our Venmo, and we'll be eternally grateful if you help us get our chance to finally see Messi in person. I know Daniel said earlier that he's seen him before, but this time he'll remember everything because Messi will play the full 90 minutes, hopefully.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. So that's all we have for today's show. Before we take off, make sure to follow us on social media at Sports Planet Pod. Like I just showed, ours are right there as well, at _Brandon Zamora and at Brutally Honest Help. You can also find these episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So I just wanted to say thank you, Daniel, for taking time out of your day today to join us for episode 17. And to the listeners, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on the very next episode of the Sports Planet Podcast.
Life is good, I've decided. Now I'm away from this violence. Out there is